Hello students, welcome to English class. Time travel, moving different points in time, has been a popular topic for science fiction for decades. Franchises ranging from Doctor Who to Star Trek to Back to the Future have seen humans get in a vehicle of some sort and arrive in the past or future, ready to take on new adventures. Each come with their own time travel theories. I'm sure that you all must be having your own theories too, and you do believe in time travel to some extent. And you must have done, like sitting in class physically and traveling somewhere else mentally. You agree? Same is the case with Charlie, the protagonist of the story, the third level that we are going to do today. So let's get on the journey. What is third level then? The third level is an airy shadowland halfway between desire and reality, where nothing is quite as it seems. And creating a masterpiece in early 20th century was too tremendous a task for Jack Finney. In his own words, maybe I live in what is for me the wrong time. How true. He couldn't even perceive that how 21st century will witness the age of science fiction and time travel will become one of the most popular concepts in cinema as well as in fiction. How the scariest Thanos with a snap of his finger will be changing human destinies. You must be a great Marvel fan, all of you. So let's talk about this author who had created this popular concept, Jack Finney. He was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1911. He attended Knox College and graduated in 1934. His most famous works are The Body Snatchers, Married Marguerite Guest. He died on November 14, 1995. I have already told you about his famous books. So these are the covers of his popular fiction, The Body Snatchers. You can see the three different covers, and if you are an avid reader of science fiction or time travel, let's say, then you should be reading this book. It is definitely going to delight you like anything. Children, the third level is about the harsh realities of war. War has irreversible consequences, thus leaving people in a state of insecurity. It is also about modern day problems and how common man tends to escape reality by various means. In this story also, a man named Charlie hallucinates and reaches the third level of the Grand Central Station, which only has 2 levels. So when I say modern man, what do I actually mean? It would be difficult for all of you to understand perhaps because you are generation XYZ. You may not be able to feel the kind of anguish and trauma that people felt after the First World War, and then they felt more even after the Second World War. Before these two wars happened, no one even had imagined about mental problems like stress or depression or boredom, or you can say hallucination. So psychological diseases and disorders also did not exist. Men and women were living happily in whatever they had. So it is believed that with the oncoming of the wars came the problems. And therefore, here also the theme, you can say, of the story revolves around this common man who is unhappy and who wants or who wishes to fulfill those desires in his dream without even realizing. So his escape from reality is his waking dream wish fulfillment. and he fulfills all his unfulfilled desires when he escapes. So for him, third level becomes a means of escape. And for that reason, for every common man, for every modern man, all of us all of us are unhappy somewhere or the other, and therefore all of us are always looking for a third level where we can fulfill those unfulfilled desires. So this is the basic theme, or you can say concept, around which Jack Finney has woven this beautiful piece of story. I hope you get it. The story revolves around a 31-year-old man named Charlie, who experienced something weird. One day after work, coming from the subway, he reached the third level of the Grand Central Station, which doesn't actually exist. He reminisces the entire experience with his psychiatrist friend Sam, as he thought that he experienced time travel and had reached somewhere in the 1890s, a time before the world saw two of its most deadliest wars. As soon as he realized what time he is in, he immediately decided to buy 2 tickets to Galesburg, Illinois, one for himself and the other for his wife. Unfortunately, he couldn't find the third level again. And since then, he has been looking for it so that he could find happiness and he could spend some leisure time with his wife Louisa. Now these were his two unfulfilled desires, which according to the psychiatrist friend Sam, he wanted to fulfill. When Charlie wanted to reach home early, he would go to Grand Central, and from the second level he would take the trains like 20th Century, which were subway, and they would take him home early. All he wanted was to be with his wife Louisa at that hour, and he still doesn't understand why this whole experience happened with him. That day also, like all the other days, he had gone down to take the train, and gradually he wandered down the third level and he got lost. It was nothing unusual for him. Like that day earlier also, he had gone down and he had bumped into the new corridors and new doorways. He says that I have always been bumping into new doorways and stairs and corridors. Once he got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. And another time he came up in an office building on 46th Street, 3 blocks away. But what is interesting here, children? The interesting thing is that both these places were near his house. So every time he would reach near his house, which meant he wanted to reach early, so he would reach earlier. So that is the coincidence here. Sometimes he thinks that Grand Central is growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. There is probably a long tunnel that nobody knows about feeling its way under the city right now, on its way to Times Square, and maybe another to Central Park. And maybe because for so many people through the years, Grand Central has been an exit, a way of escape. And that is how he also got into the tunnel. But this part he never told his psychiatrist friend. Naturally, because everyone would think of him as crazy or mad. The unusual corridor he had entered into began angling left and slanting downward, which he felt odd about, but he kept on walking. There was no one except him, and the voice of his own feet echoed. He finally heard the sound of people talking from a distance. Then he took a left and walked down the stairs again, only to reach the third level of the Grand Central. He thought that he had somehow made his way back to the second level, but as he noticed, the room was smaller. There were fewer ticket windows and train gates, and the information booth in the center was wood and it was old looking. The man in the booth was also different, and the station was dim lit, for there were open flame gas lights. Charlie could see brass spittoons everywhere when suddenly a glimpse of light caught his eye, and he saw a man pulling his gold watch from the west. He was dressed in an old fashioned style. Suddenly he noticed that everyone was dressed like the 19th century. It was basically the time before the deadly wars. So many beards and fancy moustaches all around, something that he had never seen before. He even saw a very small Courier and Eve's locomotive, which assured him about which time he was in. To validate his suspicion, whether he was in 1894 or no, as he had suspected, he went over to the newspaper boy who was selling The World, a newspaper which was discontinued years ago. There were some headlines about the then President Cleveland, and the date on the front page was also June 11, 1894. He was now sure that he has actually time traveled. Immediately he went to the ticket window to get the tickets for Galesburg, Illinois for him and his wife. It was a beautiful town with a lot of greenery, exuberating happiness and leisure. He was well aware that from here one could buy tickets that would take them anywhere in the United States. He further goes on describing how things were in 1894 before the two world wars took place. Evenings were twice as long as they are now, and men and women living in peace and prosperity. Why does he mention the evenings being longer as they are now? Because now, when he's living in New York and working as a manager in some MNC or a huge firm, do you think, children, he gets time to reach home, or is he able to see evenings? Maybe months after months he is able to see one evening. So for him, being able to sit in the lawn of his house and to be able to watch the evening sky, that is his unfulfilled desire. That is his dream. So he mentions that these two luxuries which he could not afford in 1930s in New York as a manager, having money that one could envy for, he had that in 1894 Galesburg. Now I'll come to Galesburg also right now, that if you read about Jack Finney, you would realize that he also had a past and he spent his childhood in Galesburg of 1894. So this childhood experience that he had of Galesburg, that is here shadowed, and it is there in the mind of the protagonist. So we may say that the Charlie is also a reflection of Jack Finney's unfulfilled childhood dreams and desires, which he could not afford to get in modern America, in New York. Same way, Charlie is also unable to get them, and therefore he wishes to get them in his dreams, escaping from the reality and finding them into his dreams. And so he makes this time travel. I hope you understand this much. Charlie too wanted to live in that peace and prosperity along with his wife Louisa. So he went to buy the tickets. So as the clerk was calculating the fare, he looked at Charlie and his fancy headband. And he had that gaze in his eyes, he started staring at Charlie. He seemed different, he looked different. Charlie had just enough money for one side journey. Just as he took out his money, the clerk informed that this is not the acceptable money. and by any chance, if he tried to be smart, he won't be able to get away with it. And he glanced at his cash drawer and realized that currency used back then was different and almost double the size. Thinking that he might be put to jail for this reason, Charlie ran out, because he knew that there was nothing nice about jail even in 1894. Jails are jails. Now at this point I would children like to relate with another adventure that you had read in class 11th. You remember adventure where Professor Gangadhar Pant, what did he do? He also made a transition, and of course it was in time travel, because he was traveling in the present only from one time to another time. So he was at the same time at both two places. So in that story also he needed a trigger to make a transition, and he needed a trigger to come back to the reality. And there, of course, there were all realities. According to the professor Jayant Narlikar, all realities were existing at the same time. So this point is different, of course, but the trigger that was needed to come back, I find similarity here also in the story. Because Charlie went to dream, he was sitting at the second level and he was dreaming, and he needed some kind of a trigger to come back to reality from his dream, and this provided him that trigger, the fear that he would be caught, and if he would be caught, what would happen to him? This made him ran away from there. And that was that. He left the same way he came. He says later, I suppose, which means he did not realize and he did not remember. How did he reach there? How did he come back? He says that I left the same way I came, I suppose. So children, this much has happened in his dream when he was sitting at the second level and he wanted to catch this train 20th century to his home. So when we read the story, we can divide the entire into two sections. The first section is what happened in his dream, and the second section is what actually is going to happen now in reality, how he is going to interpret this dream into his reality. Will he remain in reality? Will he understand that he was into a waking dream wish fulfillment? What is his psychiatrist friend Sam going to tell him? What is his say on the entire experience? Will his wife Louisa believe him? Will she agree? Will she be convinced that her husband has not gone mad or crazy, but he's actually sane when he's thinking of the third level or when he wants to go back to 1894? So all these questions crop up in our minds when we read the story, and that part I'm going to discuss in the next video. I hope you would be enjoying that video too. So children, I'll see you in the next video where we are going to find out answers to those questions that have cropped up in our minds during the reading of the first section. All right, and I hope this video has helped you in unraveling the mystery that is there in the story, and hope the next video also is going to help you in further enriching your experience of reading the third level. Thank you.